Welcome world. So welcome to this expansion workshop in self-development and through the zodiac, through esoteric soul-centered astrology. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for those to arrive online in this new world that we live in, where we are now creating these spaces through technology. And I'm in West Cork. I'm just outside of Clonakilty, Timoleague, in this studio space that we built in the first lockdown, because basically we didn't have any extra space for us as adults to get out of the house. And I guess there was kind of nothing else to do at the time. So here we are, I guess the ego has been fully beaten now, and we realize that things are never going to be the same again. And this space is providing an opportunity for me to be able to teach, hopefully eventually physically, but for the time being online. So I'm just going to give a couple of moments for those to arrive. I just point out my palm tree here. I've had this palm tree since I was 16. Including it in this space. She's kind of suffered, she's like all human beings. She's lived a life, and yeah, you can kind of tell she's a little bit wonky, but I think the best people are wonky, hey? So we have a couple on board. For those of you who are doing the recording and are partaking in this ramble, I will put the time that we officially begin the workshop in the comments. I'm just going to drop a bunch of comments in the comments here that are going to be used as reference as we go through this workshop today. So some of you, hopefully a lot of you who have kind of registered at least for this workshop, have sent me your birth chart. So I'm just dropping in here the soul archetypes, and I'm also going to drop in the esoteric houses that I will draw reference to. And obviously this will be recorded, so if you are doing it live and want to go back, I'm going to put all of this information in the comments as well, so you have reference for it. For those of you who are doing it on the recording, you will be able to stop and reference things that I'm saying with your own birth chart. Let's just see if YouTube is participating. Yeah. So we have two. Hey, thumbs up. Anyone who is on live, if you are able to comment who you are, and I might be able to see who's here. Why is this? No. If I could get this in the comments now, I'll put it in the references for you to come back at the end. I'll do it straight away after the workshop is finished. Super. So the preamble, I've written it down, the practical stuff, because I'm actually not that practical, so I have to make notes for myself. So for those of you doing the recording, if you haven't grabbed a yoga mat, comfortable clothing to at least move in, we're going to be doing some light movements with breath. Do pause the video and go and get your things to move on and in. The meditation, if those of you have just come for the meditation, I will put in the notes where the full moon meditation is, and that will be the last thing that we do after all the kind of thought work, philosophy and movement and breathing. I'm also referencing people's birth charts. So if you are doing this at a later time in the future and you want to have a little bit of a deeper understanding, or you can't quite make sense of it yourself, then do personal message me email me, whatever you need, and I will drop you a 5-minute voice memo to give you kind of a bit of an insight about what your birth chart and how your birth chart relates to these times right now. And that's pretty much it. I think if you're comfortable, then we'll begin. So, I mean, I can't even go over 2020 again. 2020 has been the year of contraction. It's the year of Saturn. And yes, there's been this bunch of contractions. We've had 3 years of Capricorn. Capricorn is all things rules, regulations, systems and structures. It's the patriarchy, it's the masculine, it's the father figure, you know? And Saturn is its ruler. It's its ruler on its personality side and its soul. So it's really potent. And Saturn, you know, Saturn's not necessarily a barrel of laughs, right? Saturn comes in a bit like the Grim Reaper and puts restrictions on things. And we've literally seen that. Restriction, restriction, restriction. But Saturn also provides us massive opportunity, because when things are restricted, a load of other stuff internally can change, and we have this opportunity to create something else, or this opportunity to see the world in a different way. So if 2020 was the year of Saturn and Capricorn, obviously Capricorn, the final stages of Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, like the father figure with his crown, fully imposing these this restriction, these challenges, this contraction. And 2021 is the year of Aquarius and of Jupiter. And Jupiter is like if Jupiter and Saturn were at a party, you know, like Jupiter would have loads of people around him or her. He'd be telling stories, fun, expansive, positive, optimistic, right? We're expanding. It's full of love and wisdom. It's you know, it's wise through its core, and it radiates love, right? And its rulership of Aquarius is Aquarius's soul. So Aquarius, just like us as people, has a soul and a personality. So a little while ago, Saturn and Jupiter came to the grand conjunction, and at that point, then Jupiter started moving forwards before Saturn. So symbolically, what this is meaning is that before that point, we had Saturn moving before Jupiter, and Saturn coming in and posing its structures. And Jupiter going, oh, we can make positive of things, don't worry. And now it's different. As it's switched around, it's Jupiter coming in first and saying, oh my gosh, we can create this new world. Isn't this great? Look at all the things we can do. And then Saturn comes in afterwards and says, okay, well, let's get practical and organized with that. This is how we can do it. So there has been this shift, this change. And Aquarius being the sign of our times, the sign of our era, the sign of this 2,000 years that we are the pioneers, the forefathers and mothers and children. You know, we are starting this era, and Aquarius is the sign of, yes, it's personality is ruled by Uranus, and it's a very, you know, rational, scientific sign that also ignites uprisings, revolts, this kind of upwelling of new energy, electricity, technology, science. It's intellect. It's even higher than intellect. It's space. It's non-emotion. It's just this is the AI that we can create. This is the technology that we are able to use. For Jupiter ruling Aquarius's soul for love and wisdom for the whole. It's a group sign, and it's more than just group work. At its deepest level, Aquarius is about group consciousness. It's about raising everyone up together, and this development of consciousness within the individual and within the group is so potent right now. So I'm really excited. I'm really positive, even though everything in my daily life is restriction. Can't go anywhere. Weather is rubbish. Everything feels contracted. So my philosophy and where all of this workshop is coming out of is an esoteric, soul-centered philosophy that we are all souls and personalities. Personality can sometimes be called ego, right? Particularly when the ego gets fixed or the personality gets fixed. It can be fixed in a certain way, and it's resisting the calling of the soul. So your soul is desperate to work hand in hand with your personality. And through our lives, our soul gives us signs, symbols. It gives us events within which we kind of have maybe crisis, which calls us to ask who we are, why we're here, these deeper questions. And so most of us who are, particularly those of you who've booked on this workshop, I imagine you sometimes have connection with this soul, this higher consciousness, and sometimes you don't. So there's this evolution from a personality-centered individual to a personality soul relationship individual, which most of us are, because sometimes we're completely aligned and sometimes we completely are not, right? And then the third step is a soul-centered individual who is operating through their daily lives with this higher consciousness, with this ability to have space from the emotions to create a conscious response which is true to themselves. And this bridge between the last stage, which was Pisces, and now Aries, and with this shift from the Great Right Conjunction back in December, we have this shift away from the darkness and the contraction into this light of illumination. So there are more and more people asking bigger questions, deeper questions, looking for a purpose in life, looking for their place, looking for what brings them joy again. And I know for me that is true, and I imagine a number of you, that's why you're on this workshop, looking for deeper glimmers of why you're here, what this massive constriction is all about in your life, and how we can maximize and take the best lessons and greatest learnings from this time and evolve and expand into our future. There is no going back to normal. Like, this studio is now where I will be teaching. I'm unlikely to be doing the same form of yoga teaching that I was in the past. Things are not just suddenly going to be back to normal, and nor should they. This is the time that we're all being invited to evolve, and we're being invited to look at the hard stuff, the difficult stuff, the Saturn stuff, and we're then being asked, where brings us joy? Where's the Jupiter in our life? Where can we expand into? What do we need to be living? Where do we need to be? What do we need to be doing? How can we change our relationships to ourselves, relationships to others, relationships to the environment? How can we work in societies? And all of us, through our unique birth chart, are going to have different answers to that. So As a little background into astrology, you have so many different divisions of astrology. We are talking today about esoteric astrology or soul-centered astrology. So we look at every sign, every planet as having a soul and a personality, just as you have a soul and a personality, and the two are continuously interacting and influencing. Your birth chart is based upon the time that you were born and the location. And it depicts all of the sky that was where the planets were at your point of birth, when your soul finally made it into the manifested earth, right? At that point. A lot of us don't have the exact time, so we have to be a little bit cautious, and we have to look at the parameters and where we come into cusps, where we come to near signs or near houses. And then there's different ways to divide things up and read it. But to use an analogy, it's a little bit like the alethiometer in his Dark Materials in those Philip Pullman novels. It's like looking for truth in symbols. And that is what astrology is, as above, so below. So what we see in the stars at our birth is like an alethiometer of our life, right? It's not prescriptive. It doesn't say this is our destiny, this is what is going to happen. It's saying these are the energies that influence this individual and will do through their life. And then as time goes on, the movement of planets, which are symbols of these aspects of our life, move in their own way around the sun, but it moves in relationship to our own chart. So this relationship between what's going on like in the real time and what's our own alethiometer, our own truth meter of our birth chart is a really useful way of observing the conflicts, of getting meaning out of challenging situations. So I'm going to go a little bit more into your birth charts. I have a bunch of workings here. So I want to point out in your birth chart, if you are doing the recording now, you might want to pause the video and find a birth chart creator. I use Astro Charts just because I find it very clear. It divides it all down for me really easily. But obviously, if you have another one that you use, do use that. So when you're looking at your birth chart, a really interesting first part to look at is your moon, sun, and rising. And this is a lot of people will already know the moon, sun, and rising. They are three key points in your chart. Your moon is what you bring with you into this life. So your moon can be related to, yes, it can be related to family, but it's more than that. It's like your soul has lived all these lifetimes and had all these experiences previously. And the resounding or kind of the energy that's brought into this life gives you these skills. So those of you who have Virgo moons, there's 3 of you there, like Virgo it's organized. Yes, on a personality level, it brings you the ability to organize, the ability to look at how you purify your body to heal. It's a healing sign. It heals through organizing and purifying. It's very methodical. You can't. Although the idea of healing should be something fluffy, or we feel it should be fluffy, actually true healing comes from elimination of toxins, or of sometimes removing things that aren't working so well, taking out infections, imbibing things, flushing things out, and all the different forms of medicine have this, whether it's Ayurvedic kind of bloodletting or like neti pot clearing out mucus from the nasal passages. So the Virgo on a personality level gives you that. It also implies that there's some level of, for a soul conscious person, it implies a little bit of prior soul evolution and consciousness. The birth of the Christ principle is the esoteric meaning of Virgo. So the moon is what you bring. You know, someone here has a Capricorn moon. You know, Capricorn brings structure, brings practical persistence and ability to keep going even when things are really, really tough. A really important side of Capricorn. It also, on a soul level, implies a willingness to put in the hard work, to keep going, to reach spiritual truth, okay? Your sun sign relates to your personality, okay? We have half of you are Aquariuses. I don't know what's going on there. It's probably because it is Aquarius full moon. Well, sun is full moon, so it's kind of your moon, right? So the personality, which is probably has shaped you up until, you know, your early years, definitely your school years. You know, this is shaping how you are interacting with the world in your earlier years. And so Aquarius, you know, from a personality level, when the individual is just not so in contact with the soul, can lead to be quite airheaded. You know, Aquarius is an air sign. So obviously, whatever you are, and if I don't touch on it, then you can get in touch with me, or you can have a little search on the internet for the meaning of your sign. So Aquarius can be quite airheaded, not ability to kind of get things together and organized and in a coherent way in order to make a stand for anything or take anything forwards. It can be it can be very group working as well, and this quality of wanting to work with a group, but sometimes working with a group to kind of lose yourself, and equally can be people pleasing in terms of wanting to give others what they want, you know, so that you are part of the group. You don't want to necessarily take a stand up for your truth, say what feels right for you or wrong for you. So that's your kind of person. Your moon and your sun really shape, you know, this personality that you've kind of been developing in your earlier years. And then there's some point when your soul kicks in, definitely by 28. 28 is your Saturn return, and at that point there's this like, oh, who am I? What is this all about? You know, I mean, for me, I was very scientific growing up, very rational. I'd have none of this spiritual malarkey. I was very disinterested in human beings. I was far more interested in the earth, the environment, animals, and science, and rational, because my sun sign's Gemini. Those of you Gemini, very quick to learn, very logical, like learning things, good at communicating, good at learning, you know, which is great. And then the rising sign, what rules the soul in esoteric astrology. It's different in other streams, so that way it may be why flag a bell for you, but this is this way of reading birth charts. So your rising sign indicates what's upwelling in you, and as this light comes in this shift that we're going through right now, it's going to be your soul rising up and calling. It's like, hello, I want to be heard here. So we have in people part of this workshop, I have a bunch of Leos, I have a bunch of Pisces, and I have a bunch of Cancers. Not very diverse. So those of you who have this Leo rising, which has, you know, it's been there. It's the playful side. It loves social, you know, loves its group. It's pride, you know, kind of bit self-interested sometimes. In its rising quality and its soul quality, Leo is about to be your individual that you are, to speak your truth, to make your mark, to shine, to just be yourself, you know, rawly, you know, non overly perfected or interfered with at all, just rawly you putting it out there. And anyone who has this Leo and Aquarius polarity and has Aquarius and Leo, this is the continuous balance that we have to work out in our life, of how to find our group, Aquarius, and exist in that group, work for the group, with the group, or however we're interacting in greater service for other people, but with our gifts, with our purpose, and standing in that and telling the world who we are. The soul archetype for Leo, and I've put the soul archetypes in the comments here. If you can't see them, I will put them at the end for each one of the zodiac. So the soul archetype for Leo is the star. For Pisces, we have this very mutable water sign. It connects us to oneness, to the divine, right? And when it's defining our soul, it's all about being the medium, receiving the impressions from that kind of consciousness soup and not being overwhelmed by the emotions, being able to traverse the waters so that we can receive and create without getting washed up in the emotions. Art can be a great way of drawing that impression through and out and expressing it through art forms. That's why a lot of artists have a bunch of Pisces. One person who's on the workshop does have a cusp sign, Aquarius, Pisces cusp, and do pay some attention to that in your own chart. For those of you, hopefully I've sent you your own links. If you can have any of the ones that you're kind of researching and looking at and don't feel right, maybe it's because they're on a cusp and you're actually the other sign. So you have these three signs. In addition to your rising sign, you have a north node. Now this also influences what your soul purpose is. So just like the alethiometer, you take your rising sign, you take your north node, and you look at the signs, you read about them, and then you let it sit. You let it seep into your being, and you try and understand what the interaction of your north node and your rising sign are. So for some of you who have, there's one of you who has Cancer with North Node Gemini and another person who has Cancer with the North Node in Libra. So for both of you, your place in your soul's purpose has something to do with how you bring your spirit into your home, whether it's your body, whether it's your home, or whether it's the earth. So it depends on you as an individual, where your Cancer rising is working. Maybe it's in all three. Cancer also has this choice. Do I carry on living and creating my home as my family has? You know, repeating the cycle of the subconscious over and over again through, generations. Cancer is the sign that's like, right, let's stop this now, let's move on. And the next sign is Leo. Let's move on. So it's the process in Cancer of saying, no, I'm going to make my own home, not the home that my mother or my father or my society has told me I need to make, my own home. And home is a water sign, obviously. And Cancer people can have a very emotional connection to the earth, to animals, to the environment. And with the North Node in Libra can imply that a partnership, working with others, is involved in this. And at a deeper level, your relationship with your soul. Anyone who has Libra it's not just to do with your personal relationships. It's to do with your own relationship with your soul, and that ego soul relationship that is, you know, in kind of conflict and finding some resolve. Whereas the Cancer with the North Node in Gemini, it implies that there's some level of teaching here. Possibly study, but in the rising placement, I'd say teaching. You know, it's expression, it's understanding of these concepts, and for the earth, for the environment, for even for people's health and well-being, and even emotional well-being, that something is taught, something is expressed into the world to teach others, right? Okay, so then the two other points come back to the planets of the moment, which are Saturn and Jupiter. So in your own birth charts, if you have a look where your Saturn and where your Jupiter is, and this is going to explain to you the point in your life. Your Saturn relates to the point in your life where there is contraction, where there is going to be a lifelong challenge, a kind of a block where this Grim Reaper sign just kind of is always there, you know, like an elephant in the room, like, hey, you know, it's about Leo, you know, someone's got Leo, Saturn and Leo in their second house. You know, it's about you self-expressing so that you can create money, right? So this is going to influence you and has done for your whole of your life. But right now is the point where change is happening, and where due to the contraction and due to the influence of Saturn so potently in Capricorn last year, it's, you know, the shit has hit the fan, possibly in that department. And then I'll go into a few more examples in a minute, but then we have Jupiter. And Jupiter is where love just flows and needs to flow. And this is where we feel joy. This is where we find out where we feel joy. So we look at the sign that our Jupiter is in, and it shows us where we actually naturally will feel joyful. So we have someone with a Jupiter in Leo, which is a really positive placement. You know, Leo is playful in a sense, and Jupiter just wants to expand. So this placement just needs to bring just more of that outpouring, that playful energy into the soul's purpose, into whatever that which is feeling like you need to do right now, which is changing in your life right now. We also have a couple of people with Jupiter in Cancer, and I've mentioned Cancer before. So here, these people get joy from the home environment. You know, it's joy in creating that spiritual environment and bringing that into where they live, or even in how they treat their body as a temple, and how they treat the environment very consciously, and connecting to the spirit and the earth, connecting to, and that's where it naturally outpours, okay? So the complicated bit here, when we're looking at what has happened in the last year, actually most of you know where the big contractions are. Some of us have got distracted by big things that we think this conjunction has been about, and others of us are just ignoring it, just not wanting to go into the places that maybe need to, the soul is calling, wants to be heard, and we're just like, no, my life's fine as it is. We want to stick in our comfort zones. So sometimes I'm going to run through a list of the examples of people who've registered with me. I've done the Leo second house. So we have someone with a Sagittarius Saturn in Sagittarius in the fourth house. Now this person The fourth house is to do with Cancer again, which we've talked, the spiritual home. And this person has a bunch of Pisces and Jupiter, Pisces Sun. And I really feel with this individual that it's all about your owning your spirituality and bringing it into your home, your fourth house, and making your home your spiritual home as well. And naturally you have this medium ability, this a capacity to feel, and that can feel all consuming sometimes. But because your rising sign, this particular person, is Leo, you have to own it. This, be the star. You actually have the capacity to know, psychically know. You sense through your emotions. So there's developing a daily routine in your daily practice, in your home, that connects you back to your spirit, is going to be really helpful for this individual who is very sensitive, I would say, by this. We also have someone with a Saturn Capricorn in the second house. A Capricorn, as we've already gone, and in the second house relates to money, relates to energy. And so something here has to be resolved between the patriarchy or the masculine and how this individual sustains their energy, how potentially how they earn money, but I think it's more sustaining their energy. And once that is resolved, energy for this individual is going to be worked out. We have a Virgo in the 6th house, and we also have a Virgo in the 5th house. So Virgo relates to work, and in the 6th house, so 6th house is work and Virgo is healing. So I really think this individual, the Saturn, is really asking for deep healing work, both for themselves and possibly for other people, to be a healer, to harness that capacity to heal. And then we have this interesting individual who has a bunch of Libra in the 7th house, Saturn and Libra in the 7th house, and also Jupiter in Libra. And this is all about relationships to yourself, to balance out, to harmonize relationships with other people. There are a few more, but I will send those people voice memos if I have not already. So you have this idea now that you are a personality and a soul. Right now, your soul is driving forth and wanting to expand in the places that have been contracted, and often it's been contracted in your personality life, in the ways that you're used to living, in the way that the personality got comfortable, even if it's just in how you work, how you teach your children, how you heal yourself, how you help yourself. Some of us have had big career changes. Some of us have changes in relationships. There's so much that has happened. So we know that all of this is happening for actually a deeper purpose. It's for us to realign with actually who we are, bring ourselves back into balance, and then allow this energy to expand. And yes, sometimes it's hard because we are acutely aware of the places that need to change, the difficult conversations that we need to have, the places in our life that we need to address to work out our deep attachments and stuff that's limiting us from evolving and living our life as a soul together with our personality, as opposed to in conflict. So we're going to be using breath today to start this harmonizing work. I do want you to spend just a couple of moments and just write down a couple of words and the key places in your life right now that you are wanting to expand into, where you want to be bringing more joy. Is it in those relationships with other people, your own self, in knowing who you are, your spiritual practice, in what your home is like, your home environment? Where is there expansion needed in taking up your vocational work with two hands and going forwards? Is it unapologetically shining your light and just speaking your truth and putting yourself out there? You know, with everything that's going on and everyone's working online, this is a fairly challenging thing to be doing. There's, as you put yourself on these screens, sat in a room full of no one, there's no feedback cues. There's nothing to know how it's being received, to pick up on other people's energy. So it could be putting yourself out on the internet, it could be writing a book, it could be going and resolving things within our relationships. So you yourself write down those places that you want to bring more joy into your life, you want to expand into. And then we're going to get moving. I will talk after the movement just briefly about the moon. Did you see it? So beautiful and clear after all that rain. The moon is in Leo and the sun is in Aquarius. So we have this polarity. We have this desire to work in the group and the higher self, but the personality just wants to be working just for its own self-interest. And then on a soul level, where it's actually saying, okay, live your gifts, be who you are, express your purpose, and then come and find your group, then work with the group who needs your skills. It may happen hand in hand. And of course, right now, Jupiter is conjunct the moon. So we have this knowingness and this insights of where we need to live more our purpose, our individual nature. It's being expanded into. And we have this opportunity right now to connect through our whole body, that feeling, and receive the intuitions of this moment. Okay, so we're gonna start. Find your comfortable seated position. You can extend your legs or you can have them crossed, however feels good for you. And just rub your thighs. And bring your hands onto your knees, whether cross-legged or legs out. And just moving your head from side to side. Take a big inhale and exhale. And arrive in your body. A lot of us are overthinkers, all you air signs, all you Aquarius, all you Gemini. Chin to your chest, exhale. Inhale, drawing your nose to the sky, lift your chin. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhaling, chin up to the sky. So we're going to keep that movement going. And as you do this, I want you to see if you can allow the breath to lift the head up and allow the breath to draw the chin down. Inhaling, just like inhaling a balloon, it kind of moves your head up, and exhale, your chin comes down. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Seeing how your neck feels. Let your eye gaze come inwards and upwards to your third eye. Inhaling a couple more times and exhaling, let the chin drop down. A lot of the time we know exactly what we need to do. We know what steps we need to take. But it's not until we communicate it truthfully, free from emotions, that we can be heard and it can be received. And then gently bringing your legs into a cross-legged position if you're not already. And we're going to take some circles with our hands on our knees. And as you do this movement, let's see if you can inhale as your chest comes forwards and exhale as you arch your spine, go back. Just stay in one circling direction to start with. Closing your eyes and just seeing how your spine feels. You know, this physical body, it really shows us where our underlying etheric issues are. And the etheric body creates the physical. And it relates it to all of our emotions, to all of our thoughts, to our mind, to our soul, and to our spirit. So any place that we are not living as our soul desires to live, there is a constriction, there is a restriction, there is tension building up. And that place in our body, as we move through, when you find these nuggets of tension, you want to inquire, you want to breathe into those places, reversing the circle, rounding in the other direction. See if you can get the inhale to draw the chest up and the exhale to round. Or maybe you just want to enjoy the movement. All the stress and the pressure of the last year, as many positive things are coming out of it as Jupiter moves forwards, the tension and stress of the last year can build up in our physical. So we're connecting through the whole channel between physical and spiritual. Back to center, taking your one hand out to the side and inhale, lifting up the opposite arm. You can have your arm lifted up, you can bend the elbow, place it behind your head, or you can bend it behind your back. Breathing into the side ribs. Closing those eyes. See if you can fill up the lungs a little bit more and exhale them a little bit more fully. that Saturn influence of the last year is kind of encouraging, if not beating us around a stick, in response to maturity and responsibility, and taking responsibility for our own spiritual growth, for the evolution of our soul consciousness through our whole life. Big breath in and come up to center, changing sides, either hand over the head, or hand behind the back, or hand behind the head. Wherever you feel that tension, the side body is a great place where we discover our tension, just as our neck is and our spine. Where are we putting that tension? Where are we trying not to look at it? Taking any big inhales and exhales wherever you find that tension. Maybe the head turns up, maybe it looks down, depending on your own neck. Watching your breath. And wherever you feel that contraction, that resistance, is where you want to bring the expansion of your breath. Try and let your belly be soft. And inhaling, coming up to center. Changing the crossings of your legs around. Round your spine, draw your chin to your chest. And inhale, lift your chin up. Now see if you can allow the breath to do the movement. So you lift your spine in the cue to that breath lifting you, and exhale, it falls away. Inhaling and exhaling. Squeeze the belly right in at the end of the exhale. Inhale, take the breath all the way to the top of the chest. Fill up that balloon completely. And exhale, let go of the stress, the tension, the constriction. And inhale, bring your awareness to that place that you want to expand into, that you no longer want to ignore, that you want to bring that Jupiter energy to meet your Saturn, to look at the hard stuff and to take responsibility and to create this expansion into a new chapter or even a new book. And very gently extend your legs, tap out those legs, sweep them away. We're going to do a couple of movements on standing, so just be careful as you come to a standing position. We're going to fold into a forward fold to start with, dropping the head, let the hands come onto the floor, bend your knees enough to be here. Take a couple of breaths here first. Breathe that breath into the belly and exhale, contract. And then inhaling, grounding through your feet. Rising your whole body like a rag doll, using the breath to draw you up to standing. Head coming up at the very last. And exhale, chin to chest, rolling all the way down again. We're going to take 10 or so of those, so see if you can try to not look at the screen as you do it. Inhaling, rolling your body all the way up. Shoulders draw back, lift the chest, lift the chin. And exhale, chin to chest, shoulders roll all the way down. Hands touch the ground, thighs to your belly. Big breath in, rising all the way up. Draw the shoulders back, lift the chest. This is your new era. This is the world's new era. It's not all out there to blame, to gossip. It's about bringing an inner revolution in our own worlds, to take our new placements in where our soul is calling us to be placed and to live it, then finding our group and creating that change in the outer world. And this is a really positive time. This is where right human relations should be working out in this era, where true democracy is found, where the group is in control, the group of the many, not of the few. Last one. And in this standing position, I want you just to ground through your feet, close your eyes, really open the palms, ground through those legs, energize them down. Breathing into your heart. Be aware of your breath in your belly, rising up to the top of your chest. Filling you up with new life, new energy, new courage. You know, Leo, courage. The moon is in Leo. Let's take that courage to live who we are. Be ourselves unapologetically. Not harmfully, though. Inhaling smoothly. See if you can lengthen the exhale as you lengthen the inhale. And when you have that, on the next inhale, rising the arms up, palms connect, exhale, all the way down. Inhale, little back bend. Engage your core. You want to have your core strong. You want to have your heart open. Your spine tall. And your eyes fully open. Metaphorically. 2 more. Bringing in whatever you need and letting go of whatever you don't. 1 more. And exhaling, rolling down, full ragdoll, all the way down to your dangle. And in your dangle, bend your knees, shake your head. We're going to blubber the lips. Recognize and appreciate whatever you've been going through or been through. Now is the start of the new. Know what work you have to do. Know which area of your life is that blind spot that you need to address, and the places in your world where you need to bring more joy and expansion into. Drop the head completely. And then bend the knees. Come down into child's position. Arms reaching forwards, knees bent. Head towards the ground, breathing into that belly. So just to demonstrate. And staying in your child's pose as you let your belly expand in between your thighs, as your forehead rests either on the ground or the mat or a pillow of your hands. And find your place of peace in that breath. Feel the breath rising in your belly, in your chest, and letting it fall down. Expansion. Bringing in that love, wisdom of Jupiter, of that optimism of what the future will bring, of all the positive changes that we create as individuals in our relationships and as a collective. Those of you who have Ujjayi breath, then do bring that in. I'm going to take a few more here in Child's. Really calm that nervous system down. Jupiter brings us synthesis. It brings us fusion of our mind and our heart. And with our mind and our heart together, we have real wisdom. And wisdom is the quality of our soul. Our soul is fully wise. So allow that wisdom, your soul wisdom, to expand through your being. See if you can lengthen the breath just a little bit more, just like you're imagining the breath becoming really fine and long. No force, but long and soft and smooth. Allowing your soul's consciousness to expand through you. And that consciousness, that awareness, brings you wisdom, brings you knowingness, stops you second guessing yourself, stops you conflicting between the messages of your ego and your soul, your personality and your soul. And then slowly, slowly, without looking around, walking your hands back in towards you, finding a block or a cushion and sitting yourself in a comfortable seated position. You can have your legs extended or cross-legged or kneeling. I'm going to bring one hand to our heart, one hand to our belly, with our eye gaze inwards and upwards to our third eye. Our seat of wisdom, our seat of love, and our seat of will, of purpose. Our own purpose, not someone else's, not what someone tells us we should be doing. Your unique soul has had this amazing journey through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, experiencing and expressing and learning to this point where you are right now, born at this time, at that specific time, in that specific place on the planet for a reason. Those energies shape the lens within which you see and express. To bring learning, to bring service, to expand love, to greaten wisdom, to heal. Whatever your soul archetype is uprising in you. That combination of your rising and your north node, which if you haven't read about, just the intention is this upwelling of soul intention, soul purpose, soul love, and soul wisdom. As we breathe into our belly and allow that wisdom, that love, and that purpose to expand into your belly and up into the chest and side ribs. Exhaling, chest full, side ribs full, belly draws in. Inhaling, belly, side ribs, chest. Exhaling, chest, side ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, side ribs, chest. And in your own timing, see if you can smooth the breath out. Instead of it being forced and short, see if you can make it smooth and long. As our own expansion, our own evolution is in general a slow but gentle process upwards. We are exactly where we need to be right now. We don't need to force anything. We don't need to judge ourselves. Keeping that breath long and smooth. Allowing that soul force to expand, that love to expand, that wisdom to expand in your whole body. Inhaling and exhaling in your own flow. Letting go of the past ideas of who you are and what you should do and how you should live and your place in society and your group and your friends and how you dress and what your identity is. Letting anything that is so 2020 go. For now is 2021. And it is time for our awareness to expand. It is time for us to love. It is time for us to use our intuition and our wisdom to draw our path as individuals and as our collective humanity. Releasing and rubbing your hands together. Activating those minor heart chakras in your hands. Placing them on your heart. And just breathing into your heart now. We can't control anything right now. So let's settle our mind in this place of love. As our eye gaze turns inwards and upwards, let's settle our focus on this place of wisdom and our own intuition. And this synthesis that Jupiter is bringing, this synthesis of heart and mind, breathing from our heart to our head center, and from our head center to our heart. Let what we feel be connected to this higher mind. May we be aware of our emotions, not controlled by them. May we be responsive to them and listen to them. But always guided by the heart itself. And from the heart to your head, on this full moon tonight, let's set the intention of opening our minds to the greater possibilities of life and light, of our innate wisdom. I'm just taking 2 fingers and tapping our brow center. Releasing your hands to your knees. As we prepare for this full moon meditation, just bringing into our awareness how our body feels. Rolling the shoulders, grounding through the sits bones. The intention of this meditation is for us to receive those nuggets of intuition. Intuition of the mind, intuition of the heart. With Jupiter conjunct the moon right now, these insights are for those parts in our life that need synthesis, that need joy, that need this Jupiter energy of optimism. And as we breathe through the spine, bring a visualization to your spine as you bring your breath down through your roots on the exhale, rooting into this earth. Ground yourself to this earth, all of you Aquarians. Feel how your body feels, all you air signs. And with your breath, cool your emotions as you allow them to flow, all you water signs and fiery fire signs. Inhale from those roots all the way up through the crown of your head, creating branches, visual branches above your head. Exhale from those branches down through the trunk, through the roots of your body into the soil beneath you. Your body is made out of this earth. Drawing nourishment up through those roots, expanding up through the trunk of your tree, up through the crown of your head, expanding through those branches. Receiving from your spiritual connection, those impulses and impressions that guide you from your higher mind or your soul. And when you have that visualization fully in your mind, in your own way, breathe from those branches down to the roots and back up again in your own way. Where there's any blockage, spend some time and pause and breathe. When your mind gets distracted, come back to the visualization and the work of the breath. Rubbing your hands once more, place them on your heart. Taking your gaze inwards and upwards to your third eye. Leo is the sign of individualization. It's here at your crown, it's your crowning glory. It's when you've brought this spiritual impulse through all of your body, from your mind into your emotions as what you want to do, and into practical actions, into what you're creating. Yes, on a personality level, it can lead to self obsession. You know, it's what the celebrity is born out of. But we all can take a big learning from this Leo moon. To shine our light bright, to live our power. With a slight constriction in your throat, feel your roar, your power to create, your power to express. And on a deeper level, your ability to connect to your soul. There is your power, there is your roar. There is your brilliance and your awesomeness in that light of who you are. You are a star. And your heart beneath your hands, feeling its magnetism. Feeling the center of this column between your physical and your spiritual. Turning your gaze inwards and upwards, looking to receive. Keeping that alignment from your roots to your branches, look up above the branches, up to the sky above. See if you can get your creative imagination to rise above the clouds, above the thoughts. Looking up into the space above you, visualizing that brilliant full moon above you. Feel that gentle light pouring down through the crown of your head. Light and love to that soul, purpose and archetype and individuality that your soul has, your uniqueness. Why are you here? What is your next chapter? What does it look like? Allow the illumination that you need to be drawn into your mind, both abstract and rational. Maybe it's just a feeling, maybe it's a color, maybe it's a visualization, maybe you have started daydreaming, but that daydream is relevant. And as you gaze inwards and upwards, with that which is your unique gift, which is your uniqueness, how can you serve humanity? How can you help the group of us, this group of souls that is this, what are we? 7.8 billion of us on this planet. For Aquarius is now us, our own ascendant as a human species. In this era of Aquarius, this is the world servers that we are all being influenced to help each other, help the group, but that doesn't diminish our own individuality, our own need to shine, our own need to be authentically all that we are. Take a big inhale and draw that knowingness down through your head, your heart, down into your core. Back to your visualization, down to your roots. Bury that knowingness as seeds. What is your uniqueness? What is your soul here to do? What are you here to do? And how can you help others? What is your group? Bury it, not forget it, in a nurturing environment in your soul, in your soil. And then inhaling up through this column, up to the highest, brightest place of light above the crown of your head. Go 15 feet or so where you find this star, where you find this bright light, this guiding star, this north pole star that keeps us walking along our own path, not someone else's. And from this bright star, drawing light down into our head center and out to all other individuals in this world. Let light flow from this highest place through you to all those in the world. Wishing that others may raise their awareness and consciousness and be illuminated at this time. And into your heart center, finding the deepest place of love within you and extending love out to all other souls on the planet. And then into your core, where your purpose is, where your will is. Will in action and good will in service. Extending that out to all other human beings on this planet. May everyone live their lives unique, their own purpose, their own expression, their own way of helping others. And then from wherever you are, coming to that breath, up through your spine and back down. Bring your awareness to your physical body, your emotions, however you feel, the quality of your mind, whether busy or still. And just thanking the whole of you. From your toes up through your legs, your hips, your belly, your spine, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your palms, your fingers, your throat, your means of expressing and sensing and tasting and hearing and seeing and feeling. And your brain and its capacity to think. And your higher mind and its capacity to intuit. And your whole body and its ability to feel and know and be. Drawing in from your crown, allowing those roots still to be there. Come back to your long, deep breaths. Let them be fully on the exhale, letting go of that last year. Inhaling, expanding into the new, expanding into that awareness, that intuitive wisdom that you have, your capacity to sense, and your ability to create. Sounding Om or just listening to seal the practice. Taking an inhale and exhale. An inhale for Om. So just feeling how you feel. Extending your legs. Welcome back. So do write down any of those intuitions right now to have alongside those desires that you put beforehand of where you wanted to expand, but maybe your intuition was pointing to you somewhere else. In terms of going forwards from what you've realized from this workshop, or maybe it hasn't seeped through just yet, really good practice to make some time for journaling, whether it's in the morning or the evening, just to, on a daily level, be able to put down in the physical, because words on paper is quite physical, where what your intuition is saying. And sometimes it can help you gauge when things aren't from your intuition, are actually from the old personality, the old fixed ego. Now, when I talk about personality and soul, it's not like your personality is bad and we're trying to do away with it. We're trying to work with all those skills, all those experiences, and work with the soul. But that the soul is using its wisdom and its capacity to guide us through the abstract as our North Pole, as our guiding light, right? To keep us on that path and not keep going down the same patterns that we familiarly go down, the ones that aren't taking us to the places that we are yearning to go. So a journal, also some form of something that is for you every day. Even if it's just 5 minutes, whether it's movement, whether it's walking, whether it's dancing, whether it is playing, something that is for you, that's going to keep you connecting to that spark of joy, something that you can commit to. And it is important because this polarity of Leo to Aquarius shows it. We can't serve the group if we're not able to mind ourselves, to grow our light, and to bring that light to the group. Equally, if we can't find where what brings us joy, how we can express joy, how we can play, we can't really do the serious work of the archetype of Aquarius is the world server. It's it's quite serious, right? Whereas we need to bring this Leo energy towards the Aquarian energy, this playfulness of this is who I am, but letting go of this whole celebrity of there are people that are better than us or more able than us, and what we have to say, and our wholeness is important on a daily basis, and that will help us through these contracted times to grasp hold of the opportunity that Saturn is offering us. And Jupiter is now paving the way forwards, is now optimistically charging forwards with love and wisdom and saying this could be our new world. Of course, there's going to be outside things affecting this. Are people who are jumping on for their own ego benefit, their own wealth, all those kind of attachments to comfort, to money, to power, to success, to fame, to their looks, to glamour, to their following, whether they're an influencer or not. And all of that is going to start to flow into the drains. Already the celebrity is having its time. People are getting fed up. So a daily practice of something for you, a journal practice. And then obviously I'm a big believer in meditation as a means of developing communication, a rapport with this higher mind, so that your higher mind and your brain are talking. That's what we're aiming for. So I am relaunching my meditation challenge for the spring equinox. So if you are wanting to kickstart a meditation practice, I will be bringing that back then in a new format. We'll be doing a kickstart week as opposed to, I think we did 28 days last year. So if you're interested in that, keep following the social media. There'll be more on that soon. Thank you for giving me this time with you this evening. I hope that you have got something from it, a glimmer of truth, a glimmer of hope, optimism. I hope that Jupiter is going to take you home, guide you through these steps of the next days and weeks and months ahead of us into this new chapter on Earth. So I'll put all that information, if you want to go back to your birth charts and dive deeper into what the Saturn aspect in your chart is and the Jupiter aspect and how that relates to your soul and personality. Please do drop me a message. Let me know how you found this and any questions. And if I haven't referenced you, I haven't sent you a voice note already, I will do so over the next 24-hour period. So namaste, until next time, take care.